Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're going to move on to public comment. Just a reminder to everyone that the first public comment is for agenda items only. So if anybody has anything that is on the agenda that you would like to discuss in the public, please make sure you state your name when you talk. Okay, no public comment, so we will close public comment. We will move on to the consent items. That is DA1 to D4II. Do I have a motion? Motion by Tom, second by Jen. Thank you. Does anybody on the board have anything that they would like to discuss in further detail or pull anything out?
Yeah, I'm good.
Everyone's good? All those in favor?
Aye.
Bill carries.
Okay, so I do want to just recognize in the audience this evening we have Mr. Fisher. Mr. Fisher has a title change in the district. He will now be our Director of Technology and Data Management. So congratulations to Mr. Fisher.
Thank you for taking on the extra.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to move on to the tax levy and tax warrant. Adoption of the tax levy. 2025-2026 real property tax levy and library tax resolution. Be it resolved that the receiver of taxes be authorized and directed to collect taxes for the Highland Central School District by mail during the period of September 1, 2025 to September 30, 2025 without penalty. And during the period of October 1, 2025 to October 31, 2025 with the addition of 2% interest penalty, and further that any taxes not received or U.S. postmarked on the close of business on October 31, 2025 be turned over to the Ulster County Treasurer for collection. Be it resolved to the Collector of Taxes of the Highland Central School District, towns of Esopus, Lloyd, Marlborough, New Paltz, and Plattekill of Ulster County, New York State. You are hereby commanded: 1. To give notice and start collection of taxes on September 1, 2025 in accordance with the provisions of sections 1322 of Real Property Tax Law. 2. To give notice that tax collection will end on October 31, 2025. 3. To collect taxes in the amount of $33,909,225 for the school district levy, less the amount to be separated provided through the STAR program for which the tax collector is not responsible, and $1,098,597 for the library levy in the same manner that the collectors are authorized to collect town and county taxes in accordance with provisions of section 1318 of the Real Property Tax Law. 4. To make no changes or alterations in the tax warrant or tax warrant of the tax roll attached, but shall return the same to the Board of Education. The board may recall its warrant and tax roll for correction of errors or omissions in accordance with provisions of section 1316 of the Real Property Tax Law. 5. To forward by mail to each owner of real property listed on the tax roll within 10 days after the start of the collection a statement due on his or her property on pre-numbered tax bill forms provided by the school district in accordance with provisions of section 922 of the Real Property Tax Law, and to forward by mail without interest penalties to the office of the county treasurer a detailed tax bill of all state land parcels liable for taxes on the school tax rolls in accordance with sections 540 and 544 of the real property tax law. 6, to receive from each of the taxable corporations and natural persons the sum listed on the attached tax rolls without interest and penalties when such sums are paid before the end of the penalty-free period, September 1 to September 30, 2025, and to add 2% interest penalty to all taxes collected during the penalty period of October 1, 2025 to October 31, 2025. 7, to issue receipts provided by the school district in acknowledgement of receipt of payments of taxes and to retain the preserve and FDE exact carbon copies of all such receipts issued as required by section 986 of the real property tax law. 8, to promptly return the warrant at its expiration, and if any taxes on the attached tax roll shall be unpaid at this time, deliver the account thereof on forms showing by town the total assessed valuation tax rate, the total tax levy, the total amount remaining uncollected as required by sections 1330 of the real property tax law, and subsequently to turn over the county treasurer by November 15, 2025, a listing of all unpaid taxes with penalties included. 9, this warrant is issued pursuant to section 910, 912, and 914 of the real property tax law and is delivered in accordance with sections 1306 and 1398 of this law. It is effective immediately after it is properly signed by the majority of the Board of Education. This warrant shall expire on the date stated above unless a renewal or extension has been endorsed on the face of this warrant in writing in accordance with sections 1318, subdivision 2 of the real property tax law. Whereas the Board of Education of the Highland Central School District is authorized to raise funds for the 2025-2026 school year not to exceed $57,325,285. Be it resolved that the board authorized and direct the levy and collection of taxes for the 2025-2026 school year in the amount of $33,909,225, less the amount to be separately collected provided through the STAR program for which the tax collector is not responsible, and that the board fix the equalized tax rates by towns and confirm the extension of the tax roll as they appear on the attached tax roll.
Okay, at this point, I'm going to do a roll call, and then I'm just gonna pass this agreement for signature.
Is this something that gets motioned?
I'm gonna do a roll call.
Okay.
Yes, yep. Tom Miller,
Yeah.
say yes or no.
No.
Jen Becker,
Yes.
Mike Bakaxias,
Yes.
Janine Gemmell,
Yes.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's 4-0, motion carried. Jen.
Next, we will move on to superintendent comments.
Okay, so we are closing in very quickly on the end of summer. I just want to thank all of the folks that have worked tirelessly to get our buildings back in order. They're not completely back in order yet, but we know they will be. Pete and his folks have worked tirelessly across the district, as have our administrators and secretarial staff throughout the summer, transportation department, and so on. So thank you to everyone for just working under very short period of time to get the buildings up and going with all of the construction going on. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Just some highlighted dates that are coming up in the next week. On the 25th, we have the 6th grade orientation and schedule pickup at the middle school, 5 to 7. Then on the 26th, we have 7th and 8th grade schedule pickup from 5 to 7. And then on the 28th, 9th grade orientation here at the high school from 4 to 6. First day of school with students is September 4th. We will have 2 superintendent's conference days just prior to that. And there's a memo going out, a letter to the faculty, staff, and parents with a welcome back message. That's scheduled to go out either tomorrow or Thursday, just reminding them of those start dates. And then we move into our back to school evenings. So I would like to just throw those out there for the public. The elementary school curriculum night is on for grades K and 5. It's on September 8th at 6 p.m. On the 9th, we have curriculum night for grades 1 and 3 at 6 p.m. And then on the 10th, we have curriculum night for grades 2 and 4 at 6 p.m. Our middle school then follows up the following week on the 15th with Meet the Teacher starting at 6 p.m. and that's when they run through the schedules. And then 2 days later, our high school have their open house again, running through the schedules starting at 6 p.m. So lots going on. Sports have started. The kids are already getting ready for the fall season. So that was good to see some activity back on our campuses. And just if people have not noticed already, on our Facebook page, on our website, the bus routes are all up there. If there are any questions with our bus routes, please give our transportation a call at 691-1041. And they will be more than happy to walk anyone through. If they don't see a street on there, it may be a combined street or something along that line. So please give a call if anyone is confused with that. And that's really all that I have.
Excellent. We will move to Board of Education. Any new business for the Board of Education? Nope. Okay. Under old business, we have the Board of Education goals and mission statement. So I believe in the last superintendent update on last Friday, he sent some information regarding our comments and our conversations that we have had. So that was provided, and then I think, Mike, you had some additional comments or information you wanted to
Yeah, so, I mean, basically what the superintendent did was take some of the several submissions that board members had, kind of run it through some AI, I think it was Copilot, and it, kind of spat out another revision of the statement, which I thought was really, really good. It's something I think that, got us 95% of the way there. I did 2 renditions only because I feel that some of the stuff is redundant. And when you take a look at mission statement, it's a statement, right? So a couple sentences, we're trying to keep it short, though I did like the way it read. So the first, I call it mashup, but so the mashup one is basically what Joel had there. In the first paragraph, I strike the word global and just leave citizens. Sometimes when I hear global citizens, I want to inject the word American citizen. I mean, those are the kinds of values. But I said, you know what? A great middle ground would be just take the word out and say citizen. It can apply to a lot of different perspectives. I wipe out the middle, not that they're not important, but it gets into the weeds, trying to keep really at a much higher level for the belief statement. And then I really did like everything that was in that last paragraph. The second rendition is simply because that third paragraph starts out with our mission is, I kind of felt, and I liked the way it flowed. Mashup 2 just really takes that and injects it into the beginning and makes paragraph 1 and 3 kind of, I put it together. And I didn't know how it read better. So, that's something that maybe if everybody likes the sound of one more the other, or the option would be to leave the document the way it sat off of AI, that would be cool too. The only other thing here is when I was reading Mashup 2, right at the bottom, you have strive to inspire, and not that we shouldn't strive to inspire. I felt that just because of some of the, like personal device policy going into it, I just kind of felt like maybe some stronger language basically says, so where we strive to inspire, to expect students to think critically, let's just cut to the chase and say, we expect students to think critically here. We expect students to act compassionately. We expect you to become a productive citizen and contribute to their community. So that's why I kind of wiped that out. But those are the 2 renditions. And that's my discussion on the statement. Real close. In discussion with Tom, in all fairness, he likes the stuff underneath it, all the bullets. Yes. I mean, it's easy to go overboard, but we have a lot of documents. There's a lot of redundancy. If we can nail down, I think, a mission statement in the next meeting or so, then we could talk about some goals under that mission statement for the year. if need be, or we leave all those bullets, you know, whatever the groups decide. But that's my 2 cents for today. Thank you.
Jen or Tom, do you have anything you want to add?
No, other than, as Mike just said, I like the bullet idea because it's bang, bang, bang right there. When we try to meld statements like this all together into a paragraph or two, a lot of words get added that take us in different directions. You lose the value of some of the comments. And it's like a bunch of words at that point.
So, Mike, were you gonna send the some electronic copies of what you sent to?
Yes, absolutely.
I can just take these and scan them in
okay.
Either way.
and make PDFs out of these and put them in my
Sure.
update for everyone to take a look at. This will give also the board members that aren't here this evening a chance to take a look. And if anyone
Right.
has any feedback, I have a draft on my computer that I can update as people give me more information. So if you see something you want expanded upon or shrunk down, we can definitely play with that. But I think it's important that we put some finality to this sooner than later, so that we're not taking too many meetings to continue this, so that we can move on to some other
Yeah, I think
important
this,
things.
I think that at the next meeting, we're adopting something.
Yeah.
And whether it's the original document, because, I mean, I like ideals and I like goals and, you know, whatever the group is comfortable with.
Okay.
So why don't we review this, and then if we have any comments, let's send those to Joel so that he can update that, and with the hope that at the next meeting, then we adopt.
It has to be done ahead of time, because when we get to that meeting, that should be something people can see
I agree.
as part of the meeting. And that also, you know, ends it for us too.
That's good.
Excellent. Does anybody have anything else that they would like to discuss that we haven't before we go on to public comment?
Just a comment that, you know, I haven't been inside all the buildings, but from what I see externally, people have been working, they look really good, and I know they're only gonna get better as we get to opening day. So thank you across the board, but to the IT department, all those 12-monthers out there, including central office. It feels, I feel like we're at a really good point, even with the capital project. And the last couple of years have been a little messy, so.
I won't lie, the capital project has me on edge.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot going on and there's only a few days left, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be ready for kids. That's what I'm
Internally,
told.
Joel, like inside?
Oh yeah, you go
buildings?
down to the cafeteria and all the ceiling is still out, and they're still working on some
Okay.
of that. So, you know, the floors look beautiful, the grounds look beautiful, but there are aspects that you're like, okay, there's not a lot of time, but they're
Can't
gonna
do
get it
much
done.
without a cafeteria.
That's right, they're gonna get it done.
Understood. I got
So-
you. Okay.
And the parking lot will be finished.
The parking lot, I think, is in the next day or two. They just started that today. So that was actually, that's not part of the capital project. That's some of the work that Pete had planned to fix some of those crumbling spaces, but he
Oh,
wanted to
good.
wait until all the big trucks that were gonna have to come here this summer, until we were to the end of that. The crumbling pieces that he's getting fixed right now, again, these are all patch jobs, because
Yes.
we did not include the whole parking lot in this current capital project. That's definitely something that I think the board and the district will look at for maybe the next project. But this is to make sure that we can have a little bit longevity left in this parking lot, especially with the upcoming winter season and plowing last year. He found a couple spots that got really low, so he needed to address those.
Good.
Right?
The construction manager is also, hey, we're gonna make it.
That's who's promising me, so I'm
Very
holding
good.
them to
That's
it.
Okay.
Anything else? All right, I will open to public comments. Any general items that anybody in the public would like to discuss, please? Just go ahead and state your name and,
Edward Erickson from Highland Youth Football and Cheer.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to start by thanking you for allowing me to speak this evening, as well as the conversation we've been having over the past month or so regarding use of the field here at the school. So obviously you're aware that the Highland Youth Football program exists because the school district doesn't have programs for kids from K through 6, and we capture that for football. currently in our program, we have 120 registrations. We have 80 in football, and we have about 30 in cheer, which have grown tremendously over the past 6 years. From we had barely had 3 teams when my son started at the age of 5. So we've been very, very successful. Some of our values is to try to keep the cost down for the program as a whole. The registration is $300 per athlete, and we've offered about 6 to 7 scholarships this year for families that were unable to come up with the funds. We offer payment programs, and as well as we offer discounts for families that have multiple kids within our program. We have multiple families that have 2, 3 kids, even 4 in our programs, which can become very costly. So we try to help those families out as well. We've made major investments in the program when it comes to equipment, gear, trying to keep our athletes, young athletes, safe. The insurance is, contentious here. I know that you guys have accepted, you approved at the last meeting, a limit that still does not meet the insurance that we have. Back on August, I believe 5th it was, we sent a follow-up email with what our insurance was. Today we were told that our insurance still doesn't meet the requirements based off of what we have. We did provide an email today as well stating what the requirements, what the increase in cost would be, and it's upwards of $9,000 to $15,000 to meet the requirements that you have set. That's a hardship that we are not going to be able to take on. It's an investment. It's not even an investment for us. I mean, that does not do anything for the program to bring the kids up here to play. We are about trying to make the program more affordable. We're about trying to invest in equipment and making sure that our kids have the best equipment possible and get them ready as a feeder program for your modified and youth. And quite honestly, this isn't even about me or my son. This is about the program. My son plays a modified next year. This is my last year. I'm looking at the future. I'm looking at the future of the program. The families really, want to come up here and play the football games. The kids really want to come up here and play. They talk about it. They come. They hang out here during the varsity games, and they are excited.
What was the additional cost?
$9,000 to $15,000. Our insurance carrier would have to go out and get quotes for that because they don't offer that themselves, and we just can't do that. We look at this not just as a youth football program, but as a problem as a whole for all youth sports that we serve, that are served by the community here. We really hope that something can be done to collectively together, maybe some future meetings that can happen between the board and these programs to really see what we can do to meet this goal. I mean, obviously we know that the school district is all about the students. That's what your goal is. That's why you volunteer your time at this board. That's why the teachers do what they want, what they do. To me, there needs to be some type of more of a middle ground that we can get to. I don't want to say that I'm saying that it's not going to happen this season. We always have that hope that we do. But I understand that if we're not going to be able to hit that target, we're not going to be able to hit the target. But I don't want it stopping here. I want there to be more conversation because I do feel that, we invest in the school district, we invested in the capital project. We were told that, we would be able to use the fields, and we're not now. There's an additional cost being associated with it that, quite honestly, I think that it's too much money. It's not okay. We're all paying this tax anyway. They're students of the school district, so it's serving our students. That's who it's serving. So it's just, we got to find a middle ground here. We got to come together. We got to collaborate. We got to figure out a way to move this forward for the kids.
The nail that we're stepping on, and I'm going to ask because I don't know how we ended up last time. But one of the nails that we're stepping on in this issue is what's changed in that time frame was the middle school claim, right? We had to, and that was a much larger claim than we first anticipated. So part of it sits at Highland is a high risk insured right now, which makes some members feel uneasy about saying, you know what, we're just gonna we're gonna waive that 2 million and no problem until there is a problem. And that's what we're hung up in. However, was there anything else you wanted to add to your comments?
Not right now unless.
Okay,
you know.
well, because
Yeah,
the
ask a
last,
question.
I had to leave the last meeting early and you guys were we were in the real heat of a discussion here. Was there any result of that discussion? How did that end?
I thought we discussed about making an allowance for our local organizations where it's our students who are participating in the youth programs, that we were going to make an allowance for them to participate.
And
So,
then the question came, what are we approving, I guess? What's the motion? What's the
Right.
terms of what we were approving? And then
But-
unfortunately I had to go.
yeah, but I guess I'm a little confused because not at the last meeting, but Everett, I believe it was you and Elliot that were at a meeting prior to that where
Just
we were
before.
discussing all of this, and it sounded like I guess I thought you had. I guess I'm confused where the gap all of a sudden became again that's so large because I thought we were like thinking about making making some allowance for our youth programs, and so we seemed like we're on. So I guess what happened between then and now that what happened?
So I know that I've had conversations with Elliot and we had emails going back and forth, and the last meeting we had was August 5th. At that meeting, there was some representatives from Highland Youth who said, you know, we had come up with a number of 2 million as the excess liability. They have all the other coverage that's needed, and we'll talk about some other things that they may not have given us, but they had all the other coverage, but the 2 million or the excess was the big issue. The board then had a lengthy conversation going back and forth saying, well, if 2 million seems to be the number and 3 is what we're, I use this word lightly, requirements or recommendations,
Understood.
we kind of made this concession. We didn't make it a board agenda meeting. We didn't make it a resolution. It was more of a directive from the board to the finance department. We could go forward.
Understood.
Now, there's that term, you know, accept and verify. I decided to go back to the office and verify those insurance numbers. And then looking at them, we noticed that there is no excess. And we reached out to the appropriate folks saying, where's the excess insurance? What is that? Because we were under the impression that they had the 2 million in that area.
Okay.
Speaking with Elliot and getting the information from him, he's like, no, we don't have that. And that's clearly where the issue becomes. So the board is now in a position where, yes, we would love to meet this organization halfway, if not even further. However, they're clearly saying that is too much of a burden for them to now pick up that extra $2 million liability or excess liability, which is going to cost them somewhere between $9,000 to $15,000. I found that a little bit high in price, and I'm not questioning their insurance broker, but at some point I wanted our insurance organization, NYSER, to say, hey, let's have a conversation with your insurance broker to see what can be done to
why
kind of
so
mitigate
expensive?
that.
Yeah.
Why so expensive, and kind of explain it to their insurance broker, but that still doesn't resolve the issue of them having the appropriate insurance. Now, we did send some information. We sent something to read, I think last week, which laid out the different organizations and what they have in terms of insurance. They were on that list too. I have their insurance here. That seems to be the issue. It's a big number to take on board, but it's also a big number for the district to say we would waive and kind of let go. It's a conversation that needs to be had between the two entities.
So that's the difference, was that 2 million excess.
It's the 2 million excess, and that seems to be the sticking point for, you know, this particular organization, that $2 million excess will cost somewhere between $9,000 and $15,000 to add on to their.
Can I ask a question? You have other youth programs that are providing a $2 million umbrella?
We have other programs, and I don't know if they call them youth programs that fall similar to what you're doing, but yes, we have other entities or other organizations that do have the insurance liability that do fall into that $2 million, or if not more.
And this is for games to be played on the field?
Yeah, it's four games. Unless a team would go into the playoffs, then it would be more, but we do 4 home games a year.
So I think we have to look at that comment. There are 4 home games that they're doing. They're a team that's gonna have multiple teams coming in and having those 4 games, or is it just your team versus other teams?
It'd be our 3 teams, Mighty Mite, D1 and D2, ages
There's
5 through
3
11.
different age levels.
Yep.
And
Right.
then the opponent
The opponent's team.
for those 3 different ages.
So
All our opponents' teams meet the same insurance requirements that we have.
I think once again, based upon that information, I would have NYSER and your insurance company get together and kind of explain that. There's a little caveat in there that sounds interesting, because for the 3 million, it's really for organizations that are having like a camp, having multiple games. It may be, and I'm not saying for sure, maybe that those 2 insurance companies can get together and say, well, you do not fall into that category, that the excess may be needed, but that's a conversation between the 2 of them, explaining what services are being provided. At that point, I think they'll come to a resolution, and NYSER will say, yes, we feel comfortable and we can go forward, or no, we're gonna have to stay with the amount that's
Do
listed.
you feel comfortable handing over the representative's contact information so we could pursue that?
Yeah, I believe Desmond, you may have it.
I have it.
Yeah, so
I have it.
I have no problem. I would just ask that if there's any emails that, I know that there was an email to Kevin Rizzo and Logan Ellison, email Elliot and myself. So we're in the loop. We're the ones that are gonna represent the program, so.
So you and Elliot are representing Highland Youth Football
Correct,
and
he's the
cheerleading?
president, I'm the vice president.
Okay.
There you
So
go, I was
that's-
gonna
okay.
ask,
Right.
what are the officers? Very good.
Okay.
And so I have your information, and that
Yeah.
was kind of, I think, a little bit of confusion from the last meeting. It was more of, Mr.
Correct.
Mr. Gobo.
There was,
I'll waive
they
some
were
for-
working, Kevin Rizzo and Logan Ellison were working on a project for Logan with the school district through our program. I think it was like a civic project,
Civic
right?
project.
So
Okay.
they put together a camp for the youth to help with recruitment of football, which went very well. We helped it at the town field. And the varsity, the high school students that participated in that did an excellent job, and you should all be very proud of them for how they interacted with the young kids. They did an excellent job. We're very, very proud of it, and it was very successful. We brought in over a dozen kids into our football program because they went to the camp. So
That's great.
that was excellent.
So I just wanted to reiterate, I think what I thought I heard was that it's 4 games, not necessarily a camp.
Correct. It's for our program games. That's
Okay.
it.
And so that may, once again, I'll say it again, that may have a different connotation in terms of what NYSER is looking at. I think they were trying to umbrella you as a camp, as a group that's having a camp organization, therefore that excess.
When's your
could be the
first game?
It's Labor Day weekend. We don't have our schedule, so we don't know if it's home or away.
I mean, I'm around if we need to convene to approve, 4 or 5 games.
What I will do tomorrow, can't do it today because they're pretty gone.
Understood.
I will email NYSER along with the representative from your insurance company and CC you on there, indicating what we're trying to do here, that these are requirements for 4 games, not necessarily for a camp. And I just want that to be the clear issue. If you are having any type of camp or any type of organization that's going to have multiple students coming in to practice and do things, it falls into a different
Category.
This is just like somebody coming in saying, I'd like to.
We
use
have a
your facility."
contest. We have a
Right.
contest.
That might change the directive, but as I said before, let them work it out and we'll be there. We'll give an answer then. And then I'll relay it back to the board.
There's a need to convene the board for a special meeting prior to Labor Day, so
Can I just ask one more question? Are there any other costs that could be associated with use of the field? Do you foresee having to, put personnel on, a custodian? I just want to make sure I know all costs up front. So we can make
not
it
for the
fit.
full, I mean, it's
Well,
hard to say.
There is the use of the facilities documentation,
Documentation.
right? So when you go to, there is, I
Yeah.
think, some cost
There's
associated.
custodial costs,
Yeah.
maintenance costs. So that's going to be embedded in the cost that you would naturally pay to
Okay.
rent the space. And that's for everybody. And that's on the website.
That's on the website.
Yeah.
Right. There's two more things that I definitely would need. There are some requirements, part of the insurance requirements that we have to have that list Highland as primary and non-contributory.
Yep.
And there's a waiver of subordination. That's going to be
Subrogation.
subrogation. I'm never going to say that correctly. That needs to be provided. That can be a little bit of a pushback, but those are fundamental things that NYSER and the school district should have. We can probably work around a lot of things, but those are key elements, and I don't know if that may have an impact
We
upon you.
provided them in the past.
Okay.
Because we, before the insurance requirements changed, we provided in the past. We've used the field in the past, we've used the middle school field in the past, so,
Good. Sounds like those could be produced in a timely fashion.
Those will be those are kind of like the major blocks that we
They
would
should-
have to have.
they should be discussed in that conversation, in that meeting, everything that they need should be discussed.
And that's what will be done.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been trying to do for the district. I want to move away from the finance department getting into these conversations back and forth.
Yeah, so sorry.
That's
I
what's okay.
understand.
We're working through it. Having the insurance company from the organizations communicate, let them hash out, because they're speaking the same language, and then bring it back to the board or the finance department or the organization saying, either you're good or you're not good, and here are the reasons why. As compared to constant emails going,
As soon as that field was 3/4, we knew that there was a Rubicon to cross somewhere along the line, and we're just trying to find the safest passage across. No, we're gonna get wet.
and Elliot, my apologies for not sending the email to you.
Thank you.
We'll kind of go forward and make sure that happens.
It's good dialogue, though. I like it.
I just got a question on it. What is the difference between youth lacrosse, youth soccer, Babe Ruth? All three of them are able to have the insurance that you guys are requiring. They have that? I mean, if they have that, and what is the difference?
Without going into full detail, some of those organizations that you mentioned do have the requirements that we need for the excess, and some do not. That's number one. Number two, it's what type of services or program they're offering that makes the difference of where they're categorized.
Yeah.
And that is a big key difference that we've been working with NYSER to figure out. If it's a camp, and they talked about a camp, like summer camp, they're like, that's $5 million. Well, most of these events aren't camp, they're kind of ongoing athletic events that go through like the whole season. It's not just a single camp over the summer.
Right.
That moves you from simply $5 million to $3 million. And once again, if you now explain what you're doing and the services you're providing, it could eliminate or reduce some of the liability you have.
Mm-hmm.
But to your original point, Babe Ruth, Highland Youth Soccer, lacrosse,
that too.
all of them either have met the criteria or have not.
So it's the type of activity that changes the requirement of the dollar amount that is needed to be insured.
Sure,
Right.
that makes sense,
That
because
makes
think
sense.
about the risk involved.
Yeah.
More people, more risk.
But once again, we'll look into it
Yeah.
and kind of make sure that they have that.
Will that solve this into perpetuity, or should we still be looking at facilities use changes with categories that exclude, similar to the Marlboro policy? Was there any need to move in that direction, or this discussion and this process might set things in motion where these groups and their agents can hash this out on their own? Is there a need for a policy change, I guess is the question.
The Marlboro policy that we looked at, after you had mentioned it, we kind of took a quick look at it. Yes, it has categories in terms of who can rent the facility first and foremost. So certain organizations who have more population that are in the community, they get a better ranking and they can get first blush. But it
Yes,
doesn't
that's
really,
true.
it does not impact the insurance requirements that they have.
This was more access to facilities they
Facilities.
tried to solve. We were
Right.
displacing.
The
Yeah.
access to the Marlboro requirements are a little less than, I would say, other school districts.
Yep.
And so your requirements are just, certain things are just not listed as being required. And that's on that school district to make that decision.
Right.
Right.
Knowing that they've assumed additional responsibility.
Right.
Something's got to fill the gap.
There's some,
Yes.
additional liability they're assuming.
Right.
Thank you.
I think Everett had
Yeah, I
something
just
else. Okay.
wanted to bring up one more thing, and I would ask the board to take it into consideration, for the future. Logan Ellison's project, like I mentioned, went very, very well. We are looking to partner with, from my understanding, this may happen again next year, where, the varsity team may want to run this program like they did. They ran it through us because, we helped invest into it. We provided our coaches staff there just to make sure that things were being taught properly when it came to the football program. So just to take that into consideration moving forward, if, you have students from the varsity team that are looking to run this as a civic project and are gonna partner with our youth program for the coaches, and we had some additional funding.
That's something, I understand. Look, sometimes we have programs where high school kids go down and work with elementary kids.
Yeah.
It's all part of the, so additional costs, provide transportation, whatever. It's very similar. It's a very similar camp experience, but I think those students, those coaches need to talk with the AD sooner rather than later and see if that is in fact that's probably an internal thing rather than an external thing, because the varsity team is the beneficiary, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting point to bring up. I don't know that now is the discussion for this, but I do think this is a very interesting conversation, because as that civics class grows and there's more interest and there's more students involved and they start to do different projects, I do foresee that this isn't going to just stop potentially with a football camp
Or athletics,
or a football
right? It's going to
clinic.
grow up.
This could
Sure.
grow into,
A talent
teaching
show.
art, music, right? This can grow
Yes.
into lots of different things where it's not just athletics, but it's our students within our high school program who are looking to gain that civic seal, where they may need additional insurance to be able to cover some sort of an event, art show, music,
Sure.
concert, something that they're trying to put on for the civic. So we may need to think about this a little bit further and what this looks like. I think that is a very good point.
Thank you.
It doesn't sound like we'll be escaping the topic anytime
No.
soon, does it, Dr. Boyd?
All right.
We'll try.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
No, it's true though. It's true.
Does anybody have anything else for the good and welfare of our school district and our children? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn? Tom, second by Jen. Thank you, everybody, very much for good. Oh, sorry. I
Public question?
apologize.
Joel, I just want to follow up with the parking lot. Is that a temporary fix for maybe down the road you would do the whole parking lot?
Yeah, I think we've said that during the last capital project when we were itemizing out what could fit into the project. When we do projects, they all have to be under particular account codes based on location, and you
Okay.
can only do so much work in each location. So we made and we knew that the parking lot needed attention, but there wasn't enough room in that code for the parking lot to be included this last time. So that would definitely be something that I think would be in the future projects.
Yeah, and I think Support Services Committee had talked about the parking lot here.
Right.
So this is, more of a maintenance work to maintain the existing parking lot, but we have our eye in capital type discussions on its replacement.
And this is being paid from what fund or what line?
Just our regular maintenance.
Oh, just regular?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is we weren't gonna do that. We weren't gonna do that parking lot and then run
All this
all
equipment.
that equipment across it.
Cranes,
So
right,
it's like we're
right.
working from the inside and working out. It's like when you did the field. You did the field first and the track came second, so that you work out so that you're not running heavy
We're
equipment.
trying not to be a typical municipality,
Yeah.
which is you do the parking
So-
lot and then you have to replace 3 lights on the other
Yeah,
side and we
right.
rip it up.
So I mean that was all part of the building condition survey that was done like 4 or
Okay.
5 years ago, and what the age the end of life expectancy was of every part of the district. And we know the parking lot's in bad shape, but we knew that it was going to be in worse shape after all that equipment went across it. So let's not ruin a brand new parking lot.
Right, right.
The last lot we were talking
You know.
about was actually the elementary school lot, and it
Yes.
took. And there was a capital project,
Yes,
we
it
had
was.
to just maintain it.
Yeah.
But it's replacement, it's not cheap, it's a much bigger surface area.
Are you,
all of
how,
our
how
blocks.
long are you hoping that this interim one will last you, get you through for how many years, give or take?
I don't know if I have a number on that. I mean, if you go out there, it's just patchwork.
Okay,
It's not
oh, I see.
big pieces. It's pieces that were disintegrating that he patched
Right.
so that we can get through another season. We patch out there regularly,
Oh, I got you.
but it's going to need a
Mr.
full
Miller could
parking
probably
lot
answer
Yeah, yeah.
in the future. And to Mike's point, the year that the elementary parking lot was done, no other work was done at the building because the parking lot took all of the funding.
Yeah.
But
The other two buildings got.
that was beautiful. Once it got done, it's beautiful.
Yes, it was nice.
Desmond, do we have any debt retiring within the next 5 years? Any projects? You know,
Probably. I wouldn't say off the top of my head which
forgot.
particular projects, but there's
At one
definitely one or
point-
two that would be
It's all-
retiring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The long range plan.
Bernard Donigan had given a schedule, and there is something that pops up, and I,
Not as large as what we just
no.
filled the
That's
gap
further
with,
away. That's
but
a
they're
year.
little projects along the way, and that it's not really a little project, but in the scope of all three buildings and the transportation facility, that might be something that fits into that.
You've got conduits running across there, communications conduits, you've got pits, and, it's a complex part.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion by Tom, second by Jen.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 6:15 p.m.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. These are two things you're considering?
For mission statements.
Right.
Yes. Mashup 1 and mashup 2.
I saw that, but I
Might have to mash it together.
Well, they're very similar now. We'll adopt one at the next one, right? Well, it's been quite a process because there's a lot of participants and we're all providing info, and I think
Excuse me. Janine, I just need you to sign something. I'm going to.